Hello there and welcome to another episode of Business Digest. It is the first episode of the month of 2019 and we're kicking off this month with everything you need to know in regards to the latest business stories all across the country. My name is Dana Iriza, sponsored by Bank of Kigali. You're watching Business Digest. Coming up on the show, we get to explore IMIGONGO art businesses in Rwanda.
And for us specifically, we focused on refining the work we were doing here, making it a very good quality product.
We'll have an overview on foreign investments in the country through fish fingerlings.
In about 6 months' time, in May, June, we should produce about 100,000 fingerlings a month, where we will sell about 80% of that into the market to other fish farmers.
Lastly, we get to speak with TransUnion Rwanda on credit reporting and financial literacy.
For in form of a loan, and then if in case we don't pay them back, you won't get back your money, I won't get back my money.
Now, IMIGONGO art products that are made out of cow dung, ash and glue are very popular products here in Rwanda for home decor. Now join me as we explore this business and see how this business venture is contributing to the country's economy. The art form of cow dung paintings originated back in the 18th century in the province of Kiwungo and was mostly done by women. Originally, the cow dung art was used on the walls of huts people lived in. Today, it is often done on wooden plates and purchased by many, including tourists, as wall hanging. The cow dung painting art form almost died out during the 1994 Rwandan genocide. However, today it is thriving and doing well, providing income for local startups. IMIGONGO art paintings are only found in Rwanda and have become popular both within the country and with tourists. Its bright colors gracing many hotels, restaurants and lodges and finding its way to the homes of many visitors to Rwanda from around the world. Business Digest got to speak with Charles Ashimwe, the founder of IMIGONGO Art Center. He got to explain to us what inspired him to be one of the promoters of IMIGONGO Art in Rwanda.
IMIGONGO Art Center is a social business, social enterprise. It's, a social business is any other business, like any normal business, but with a social drive. So we're here to do art, to be a place to be, to stop, to have something to eat, some good coffee. But all of that, we're doing it because we want that this can be a community place, like something that can help our community improve economically, that can generate employment. So that's why we exist. And being a social entrepreneur, I feel like it's the right thing to do. And I know that's just, it's a very painful process because we only started a few months ago, but there's a sense of enjoyment for every step we are taking. You know, as a social entrepreneur, I don't think it's so difficult for me to come up with ideas. I feel it's like my talent or something that's built in within me to see opportunities that can make economic sense. So this is one of many ideas that I had. And the only reason why I did this is because it made sense with the amount of resources I had and how much I could do with it at the time. So, but I know that there are many other ideas that are possible from an entrepreneur's perspective. I would say yes, there's certain competition, but also I would challenge that because most of the work that's being done in creative industry mostly, or in manufacturing or hand-making things, there's a lot of groundwork that needs to be done in defining better processes, refining the work. So, and for us specifically, we focused on refining the work we were doing here, making it a very good quality product. So that means that Regardless of the competition that is out there, we know that someone would love to have a very nice, refined product. And we are here to do that, to offer that. So that puts less focus on the competition, but more on how better we can become. I think like any other beginning business, the first at least 12 to 24 months, they are very hard months to work with. There's a lot of instability, there's a lot of uncertainty, not knowing exactly what tomorrow is going to look like. And that means that you have to have like working capital always, and if you're working with a bank, you have to have a good relationship. They need to be patient with you. They need to work out like a certain product for you to basically kind of grow with you. So there's a lot of scrutiny around working capital, around human resource, around consistency in service delivery. But this, for me, the idea of being so passionate about something and be willing to give it your best is always, every step forward is very satisfying. It's very good. Well, we started here 7 months ago with probably 0 people working here. It was just me and someone who was helping me out with a few other things. And now we are a team of 25 people, and most of those people have dependents. And our goal was to generate at least 100 jobs for the first 2 years of operation. So I see that for the first 7 months we have about 25, and it means that it's possible the next 13, 15 months that maybe we'll reach our goal. But even if we don't, which I think is not likely, we will have generated several employments along the way. You know, IMIGONGO is very interesting art. For when we started here, we also had less ideas of what really the art is about. We had read things, we were so passionate about the art because it's more of like an art that was born here in the East, in Rwanda, many years ago. And along the way, we've been defining processes and consulting other people. And we have understood that this art is actually very unique. It's a 3-dimensional art. It uses natural, basically reusing materials, adaptive reuse, and that's how it's been for the past 200 years. They were getting cow dung, using it on walls permanently, generating paint from soils, red, gray, white, black, all of these natural colors, and they were being very creative about it. And they were basically driven by the idea of making their places look beautiful. And so you can see that the art is very inspiring about our background and our ancestry, because our people in the past who we know less about, they really cared so much about beautifying and making their places look nice. And they were also passionate about using the available materials in the best way possible, without harming the environment, without trying to look for negative ways to improve their environment. So to me, this art is like, it paints a very beautiful picture of our past. And so that's what we're trying to dig here, while we will innovate more around the patterns, the colors, the sizes, the shapes, all of that. It's basically to honor those who have worked so hard to invent this art. I think it will be so hard for anyone out there to copy, because the beauty of our artworks is based in the process of how we do it. It's a handmade process. It's artistic along the way. If you employ machines and lines of production like that, it will lose the nature, it will lose the beautifulness that we're looking into it. So this is the process, you know, getting it right with your hand like this is where the story lies.
Although tilapia breed freely in ponds, it has been very crucial for farmers and producers to consider using properly produced fingerlings. Farmers invest in hatcheries for fry and fingerling production. Quality fingerlings in tilapia aquaculture is very important. For this reason, farmers generate their own fingerlings if they cannot ascertain the quality of those from other sources. Poor fingerlings result in poor harvests. Developing a hatchery allows the farmer to have ready fingerlings whenever he needs them. As long as the demand for fingerlings exists, a well-managed hatchery can turn out to be a good business. Business Digest got to visit one of Rwandan's fingerlings producers located by the lake of Muhazi to give us an insight on how the business is progressing.
I've started the project in 2015. I was busy at that stage, busy as a project manager constructing the Park Inn Hotel. So I could not really focus permanently on this, but I finished in October a year ago, and then I put all my effort in this farm, expanding it. As you could see behind me at the moment, we're still introducing new cages into the system so that we can go up to a production of 20,000 fish per month. Why in Rwanda was a very simple question to me to answer, because it's a beautiful country, it's green, which I love the water bodies, it's peaceful and it's safe. Being as a South African, this is a very nice and stable country for me to invest in such a project. Fish farming, I bought initially the piece of land here at the lake as a recreational project, and then I got the idea of starting a fish farm after seeing the Rwanda Development Board have an advertisement on the internet of looking for fish farmers to invest in this kind of projects in the country. From there I took it further, and that's how the project started. Yeah, initially my production was like 6,000 fish which are stocked in a month, but there's a big demand on fingerlings in Rwanda. There's a short supply. There's only one reputable supplier in Rwanda which can supply fingerlings, but he also runs into problems that he cannot supply for a couple of months, forcing me to be going out of stock, not having fingerlings placing, and that has a chain reaction, not having fish putting into the market. So on that, while we're busy expanding, that has actually forced us to introduce our own breeding station, which we are busy setting up just on the land across. Well, employment-wise, we currently have on this farm about 15 people, staff, which is being employed by this project. That includes from the hatchery, the feeding of the fish here, the marketing, the admin in the offices, and then some other farming activities which we can divert people to when we are not so busy here. Marketing-wise, most of the fish in the Rwandan market at the moment are being imported from neighboring countries. And there's a big motivation by the government to produce our own fish and also to enter into the export market. Yeah, information can be shared, but in every project you do, there's always school fees to be paid. You know, you always have a mistake here, or you have a net breaking there and you lose some fish, or you have some people coming to help themselves at night when your security is not on duty. So security is a main thing on fish farming. That is what you need to introduce. We have security at night, have a big floodlight from that side lighting up the whole area, and then buying the right quality of fingerlings and feeding in the proper sequences with the right type of food. Fish food is unfortunately very expensive in Rwanda because it's all imported, so you need to manage that properly, otherwise you have huge losses in feed wastage. Definitely, when I started in 2015, I was the second farmer to farm fish in Lake Muhazi. Now there's more than 15 fish aquaculture setups on the whole Lake Muhazi, and I know of many people starting up in Lake Kivu. There's new people going to start a business there now, and other lakes in Rwanda. So yes, there's definitely focus project for that. Challenges I faced was basically as an investor coming to secure proper fingerlings to put into the market, that is to have constant supply. The other challenge we had before was buying the correct food. We had to go and import from neighboring countries first. Now there's other companies doing that for us, which make the logistics better. So the supply of the fingerlings and the food was one of the biggest challenges we faced.
Credit is the option extended to you by a credit provider, as the case may be, to enable you to purchase their products or services in a buy now but pay over a certain time frame agreement, meaning that you are given more time to pay your debt while being able to enjoy the benefit of the purchase immediately. TransUnion, one of the world's leading information and risk services providers, has a strong commitment to deliver much-needed credit solutions to their Rwandan consumers. It happens to be Rwanda's credit reference bureau that works with financial institutions, insurance companies, and retailers to provide insights into their respective consumers' credit health. And you're still watching Business Digest. Joining us now is Ms. Jacqueline Mugwaneza, the new country manager of TransUnion, and she's going to enlighten us more on everything we need to know on financial literacy, credit reporting, budgeting, and saving. Thank you so much for taking the time to have this interview with Business Digest.
Thank you, Diana, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, according to my information, prior to you being the new country manager of TransUnion, you were a banker before, and now you're switching to a whole new field. How has the transition been so far for you?
Well, thank you, Diana, for inviting me. It's quite a challenging and very interesting move from the banking sphere. Actually, I was the CEO of the Bankers Association, and actually I'm now serving my former industry. Now with the TransUnion, we provide a solution to the banking sector. So they are now my clients. So I feel like more of a challenge to serve the people I was part of for the last 8 years, and it's a kind of good challenge because I know everyone in the banking sector, and it is kind of easy to communicate with them and to know what exactly they want, so that we can serve them better.
Let's talk about credit management. First and foremost, who is eligible to get credit, and what can you enlighten them on credit management? What is it that you believe we need to know about credit management?
Maybe starting from my background as a banker, I wouldn't go through much credit analysis, because the bank before giving you a loan, they analyze your status, your identity, what you do, your income, your capacity to give back the money, because the money that bank sells is your money, is my money, and they have a responsibility to make sure the money is back in the system. So what we provide as TransUnion on the credit assessment part is we provide wisdom. We provide intelligence to analyze data, the information about Diana. If Diana is having 2-3 accounts in 2-3 banks, you might be having a loan somewhere else. And what the TransUnion do is we collect information from different banks, and the same information is used by one of them to assess your background in terms of how you can be a good creditor, how you are good at servicing the loan back. Yeah.
Great. And one thing I've noticed here in Rwanda, not just in Rwanda, even in other countries in Africa, people get, it's easy for people to get credit and to get into debt, but it's so difficult for them to get out of debt. Why is that?
Okay. I think that one. I think I'll give my point of view. Personal point of view is that there's a culture of refunding, not like giving back to the money back to the bank. That culture needs to be promoted in Rwanda. In some mature markets like developed countries, it has become like, how can you not pay back your loan? It's like a must do. But here we need to educate again people and feel like when you are getting a loan from a bank, you need to give it back, because that money belongs to somebody else. It's not their money. They sell all of us money, and they collect money from the public, which is again given to the public in form of a loan. And then if in case we don't pay them back, you won't get back your money, I won't get back my money. Yeah, so I think it's a culture we need to do via this kind of platform, where people need to know exactly their responsibilities and then their obligation when they are looking for a loan.
Okay, before we conclude our interview, one thing the central bank and other financial sectors has put so much emphasis on is promoting the saving culture on the youth. And so far it hasn't yet reached where it's supposed to be. What is your take on this? Why do you think the youth are not saving enough?
I know that the government have been promoting youth saving culture, but again, give it a time. You know, it is not an overnight activity where you wake up and tomorrow you are becoming a good saver. I think it is something that needs to be built in our culture, to educate from our kids from nursery. We know, the piggy bank thing. Like in other cultures, they start teaching their kids to start putting a coin that has fallen down from maybe mom's pocket, and then by putting that piggy bank, and that piggy bank maybe at Christmas time can be destroyed, and then the kids will buy something for gift for the dad or for somebody. So I think it's a culture that we need to make, and it's everyone's responsibility to make sure we get there. Of course, it comes with the maturity of the market. It comes with the education, the level of education of our people. It comes with it's a whole package, and actually, what the government is doing is not one activity. It is a continuous activity that is going to groom people to become more conscious about saving and investing for the future.
Awesome. All right, so it has been a pleasure conducting this interview with you, Ms. Jacqueline. You're still watching Business Digest. We still have more to come. Do stay with us. Don't go anywhere. And on today's segment of Market Trends, I'll be bringing you the formal external trade in goods in the third quarter of 2018. Now, in the third quarter of 2018, Rwanda's total trade amounted to US $1,004.32 million, a decrease of 6.98% over the third quarter of 2017. Exports totaled up to US $179.73 million. Imports totaled up to US $738.97 million, and re-exports were valued at US $85.61 million. Total domestic exports increased by 20.10% during the period of the third quarter 2018 over the same quarter of 2017, and by 9.57% compared to the second quarter of 2018. Total imports of Rwanda decreased by 13.65% in the third quarter of 2018 when compared to the same quarter of 2017. And it increased by 11.53% over the second quarter of 2018. Re-exports from Rwanda increased by 15.16% in the third quarter of 2018 over the same quarter of 2017 and decreased by 1.00% compared to the second quarter of 2018. The top 5 export destinations were the Democratic Republic of Congo, Kenya, United States of America, Switzerland, and Canada. Together, these 5 countries accounted for 44.65% share of total value of domestic exports, which is $80.25 million US.
It has been a pleasure taking you through today's show. Big thanks to our sponsors, Bank of Kigali. I'll catch up with you next week. Goodbye.